Hey everyone, so it is December, which means it's almost time to share all of the best and worst makeup products of the year. I'm working on those videos. What would you rather see? Would you rather see all of those products combined in one video, like best drugstore and high-end? Or would you rather see separate videos, like just a drugstore video and just a high-end video? Let me know. I think I typically do them combined, but I'm open to doing it either way. So anyway, as I was getting ready for that video, I thought I would film this one. I got a comment on my channel asking me to revisit my 2021 favorites and see if the products are still favorites in my collection or if I've been able to replace them. I used to film videos like this forever ago, like back in 2018, 2019, but I don't think I've done one for the past year or two. So I'm excited to go through my list from last year and see where these products are at. If they're still favorites of mine, if I have decluttered them, if I have found a replacement for them, I'll let you know in today's video. And I would love for you to subscribe because very soon I'll be uploading my best and worst of 2022. Let's start with a few products that are definitely still favorites of mine. I would say I love these more now than I did when I filmed that video in 2021. The first one is from Makeup by Mario. It's the Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick. I was just kind of getting into cream bronzer last year, and this year I definitely prefer cream bronzer over powder bronzer. And the reason why I love this formula so much is because it just stays in place all day long. I have found a few other cream bronzers that I enjoy, and some are maybe a little bit more blendable, some look really glowy on the skin, but they don't last as long as this one. So when I want my makeup to last all day long, this is what I reach for. I'm wearing this one today, and I just think the color is also perfect, and sometimes that's what it comes down to when it comes to bronzer. You don't necessarily want something overly warm toned or overly cool toned or too dark or too gray or too red, and I think part of the reason why I love this so much is because the shade light just works really well for me. Also, a little bit goes such a long way, so this will last forever. It does have a brush on the other end. I don't typically use that brush, but it is there if you are bringing it with you when you travel or you just want something even faster and easier to use. Speaking of blush, I still love the Tower 28 BeachPlease cream blushes. These are so good, and I've tried a lot of cream blush in 2022, but I still come back to these because again, they just stay in place really, really well. As someone with oily skin, I have noticed that some cream products wear off pretty quickly, but I also noticed that I'm kind of surprised by how cream products last on the skin compared to some powder products. I was always under the impression that creams would just melt off my skin because it is oily. That's just not typically the case. Sometimes they do fade, but if I'm looking for a true long-lasting blush, this is what I reach for. They have really beautiful colors to choose from, and I just like them. I think they're really, really nice. Tower 28 as a whole is one of my favorite brands. But again, if you're looking for long-lasting cream products, you can't go wrong with these. This foundation has been my top foundation for almost 2 years at this point. I tried it at the very beginning of 2021, and it was my favorite foundation of the year, and it's still my favorite. I wear this most of the time. It is the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation. I don't have it on today because I am testing out the House Labs foundation, which I have on right now. I'm not sold on it yet, but we'll see. I'll keep you posted. But I love this foundation because it looks really skin-like, but it has great coverage. I still like more of a medium coverage foundation, sometimes full coverage foundation, just depending on how I'm feeling. My skin tends to be very red. I deal with breakouts, acne scarring. I will say in 2022, I have embraced more of a natural look for day to day, but I also like this foundation on those days because I can customize it. I can really buff it into my skin for more of a light natural finish. I can layer it up for something a little bit more medium to full coverage. It's just such a good option, and I feel like it wears really well whether it is super hot outside or my skin is a little bit dry or extremely oily. My skin has been so different this year depending on the weather and just, I don't know, it's all over the place, and I feel like no matter what it looks or feels like, this foundation works really well. So definitely still a favorite of mine. My favorite palette of 2021 was the Natasha Denona Retro palette, and I still love this. I think it is so stunning. I think it is possibly my favorite Natasha Denona palette of all time. It's either this one or the bronze. I go back and forth, but I think I wore this one more in 2022 than I did the bronze palette, just because the colors are so stunning, and I feel like the bronze palette tends to give you a very similar look no matter what you're doing. But with this palette, you can get quite a few looks out of it. You can do something lighter and softer, something a little bit more intense, something like a very true berry toned look, or you can pull in this purple or skip a lot of the pink shades and use some of the neutrals. So I do feel like I'm able to get a lot out of this, and I just really enjoy using it. The formula is flawless. The color story is gorgeous no matter what time of the year. So I definitely still love this. Let me share a few products that I actually replaced with a new favorite. So last year I started getting into powder foundation, and my favorite one was the Urban Decay Stay Naked The Fix. So this is the shade 30NN. I do still like this powder. I think it is a really nice texture. It definitely keeps my skin matte. But e.l.f. actually launched their powder foundation this year, and that is the best powder foundation I've ever tried. It looks so good on the skin. Again, it's kind of more of a customizable foundation, so if I use like a larger fluffy brush, I get more of a natural look. If I use a sponge, I can get a true full coverage look, and I just love the way that sits on my skin. It doesn't look powdery, it doesn't look heavy or cakey, but it also still has really good coverage if you do build it up. And I just think when I wear powder foundation, nothing quite compares to that one. I feel like the other ones are just maybe a little bit dry or too matte, or there's not enough coverage. And even though I still like this, I really haven't used it since e.l.f. launched their powder foundation, which I think was kind of near the beginning of 2022. So I have to say this one has been replaced, but I'm happy it's been replaced because I was able to replace it with a more affordable alternative. Another product that's been replaced is this one from ABH. It is the Magic Touch Concealer. So last year I really enjoyed this one because it is very smooth. It has a really nice satin finish. It blends out quickly. It does crease under the eyes. Once I set it with powder, it's fine, but I do notice after discovering some newer formulas that I enjoy this year that this one does crease a little bit worse than other formulas I have in my collection. And it's not that I necessarily like went out to replace this. After trying a few other formulas this year, I just found that I wasn't reaching for it, and I can't remember the last time I used it. This year, LYS launched a concealer that's so good. It's very light and natural, but really smooth under the eyes. I also love the Catrice concealer. I think I tried that at the beginning of 2022 or like the very end of 2021, and that's definitely been a favorite of mine. So I just don't use this any longer. I've also taken a step back from purchasing from ABH. So I just don't feature them on my channel, which I think also probably contributed to me not reaching for it as much. I love Persona Cosmetics. I've actually discovered a lot of products from them that I really enjoy in 2022, but I have to say the Swipe Up Brow Gel has been replaced. This is still a really good option if you have hard to tame brows. If you have a lot of brow hair and none of the brow gels you've tried will lock them into place, then this is such a good option because it really does lock your brows into place all day long. I think it is still a really nice option, but this year I tried the NYX Thick It Stick It. I also tried the Oma Beauty Brow Gel, and those really have been my go-to over this one. I feel like they're not necessarily as long-lasting and the hold isn't as strong, but they both make my brows look really, really full, and I feel like for me, I don't necessarily need like a super intense hold because I don't have a ton of brow hair to work with. The reason why I like the Oma Beauty one and the NYX one is because they add a lot of fullness to my brows as well. So because of that, I haven't reached for this one very much. I still think it is a great option. I'm going to use it up completely, but it has been replaced as like an absolute favorite. Speaking of brows, two of my other favorite brow products last year were from NYX as well, and these are definitely still staples. They are products that I use pretty much every single time I do my brows these days. So usually I start with the NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel or the Oma Beauty one, and then I go in with the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen just to really add a little extra definition. I've used this pretty much every single day in 2022. Even when I'm not wearing a lot of makeup, I still reach for this because I think it makes such a difference. And I wear the shade Espresso. I feel like it's just my perfect shade. And this seems to last a long time. I've tried a lot of brow pens and a lot of them feel like they dry out super quickly, and I just prefer this one over pretty much all of them. I also love the NYX Brow Pencil. I don't use the brow pencil as much these days because usually the brow gel and the brow pen will kind of do it for me, but if I want to extend my brow a little bit or if I want to just kind of define underneath, I will use the NYX Micro Brow Pen, and it does such a good job. So, or no, what did I just call this? The NYX Micro Brow Pencil. So NYX really is like my go-to brand when it comes to brow products. I think they have so many great options. They're affordable. I was just with my mom at Ulta the other day, and she was asking me about brow gels or a brow pencil. She was using a high-end one, and I was like, have you tried NYX? Because NYX has so many good options. So I definitely recommend NYX. I love these products. The e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer was my favorite of 2021, and I still love this. I think that I purchased it like right before they discontinued it because it is unfortunately no longer available. e.l.f. did launch the Power Grip Primer at the beginning of 2022, and they've basically said that the products are dupes for each other, or they're pretty much identical. I feel like there are slight differences. The Jelly Pop Primer does have a very strong watermelon scent, and the Power Grip is unscented, which I do like because even though I love the scent of this, I know scented products aren't for everyone. I also feel like the Jelly Pop is just slightly thinner. The Power Grip is a little bit thicker. Once you blend them into the skin, I don't know that there is a big difference. If I had to choose, I might reach for this one over Power Grip, but honestly, I can kind of use them interchangeably. So this one has technically been replaced because it's no longer available, but I still love it. I still have a good amount left. I believe e.l.f. also discontinued these Mint Melt glosses. I know it was a limited edition collection, but I love this formula so much. They did launch the Cookies and Dreams collection in 2022, and I feel like those were pretty much the same, but I don't think those glosses had the plumping effect to them. I wish e.l.f. would just do like an entire line of these glosses with the plumping effect. They have an entire line of glosses that come in similar packaging, but there's something about these that are still good. So I do love them. I just don't think they're available any longer. I also loved the Fenty Gloss Bomb Heat formula last year, and I still love this formula so much. I wear the shade Hot Chocolate all the time, and I think they actually launched this one in 2022, Lemon Lava. I think these are really nice. They're definitely one of my favorite lip gloss formulas. I actually tried a lot of great lip products in 2022, but Fenty is still one of my favorites. I feel like the shades of their lip glosses are perfect. I like that they have a few different formulas. They have the original, they also have the heat formula, the cream formula, and I don't know, there's just something about their glosses that I love. So when I don't know what to reach for, or I just want my makeup to look good, or I'm looking for like a very smoothing gloss, I still use these all the time. These next few products are products that I really enjoy. I wouldn't call them my absolute favorite product any longer, but I like them enough to keep them in my collection and reach for them on occasion. So the first one is the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Mattifying Powder. So I feel like this is still a really good option for me during the summertime, but for the rest of the year, like the spring, the winter, I'm not really reaching for such an intense matte powder these days. I always go back and forth between pressed powders and loose powders. I feel like I have phases, and right now I'm definitely on a loose powder kick. I've been using the Beauty Bakery loose powder pretty much every single day because if you apply it with like a velour puff, you definitely get more of a smooth matte finish, but if you use a large fluffy brush, you get something a little bit more natural. So I'm keeping this in my collection because I'm sure once summer rolls back around, I'll be reaching for this a lot more when my skin is even more oily, but I wouldn't say it is like my go-to daily powder anymore. It's kind of the same case with this LYS bronzer. I'm just not wearing powder bronzer as much. I feel like I did wear this a lot during the summertime when I was reaching for more of a matte powder bronzer, but these days I'm just really into cream bronzers. So I think, again, when summer hits, I'll probably go back to using matte bronzer even more, and I do really like this formula. I think it's great, but LYS actually launched their cream bronzer in 2022, and I've been reaching for that one a ton. I think it is so smooth, so gorgeous on the skin, but this is a nice option if you do prefer a true matte powder bronzer. My favorite highlighter last year was the Buxom Wanderlust Glow Highlighter in the shade White Russian. I do still use this. I mean, if you look at it, you can tell that it is well loved. I just don't reach for it all the time because I feel like I have to have a very specific makeup look when I'm using this. Typically, if I am doing more of a pink eyeshadow look, if I'm using the Natasha Denona Retro palette, or any of my other favorite pink eyeshadows, I will reach for this highlighter because it kind of has like a really pretty pearly sheen with like a hint of pink. But for day to day, I typically do reach for like more of a champagne or a gold rather than a pink highlighter. I wish Buxom would launch additional shades in this formula because I do think it is such a good powder highlighter. It looks really smooth on the skin, really natural, but they haven't. They only had this one, and I don't know if it's still available. Let me check. I don't see it on Ulta's website. Let me check on Sephora's website. I feel like Buxom tends to focus so much on their lip products, which are great. I really like their glosses, but they have other products in the line that are really nice. I also like the Wanderlust blushes, but I feel like those don't necessarily get a ton of hype. It doesn't look like they still sell this anymore, so I'll definitely keep it. Oh no. Are they discontinuing the Wanderlust blushes too? On Sephora's website, they only have 2 available, so it looks like maybe they're discontinuing those as well, or they're just sticking with those 2 shades, which is sad because I feel like this is such a good formula, but maybe they'll come out with creams. I feel like everyone is launching cream chic products these days. Last year, I mentioned that I loved the Catrice 5-in-a-Box mini eyeshadow palettes. Let me just give you a look at this, and then you can see for yourself how I feel about this. I brought this with me when we went out of town in 2022 quite a few times because it's just such a good staple palette. Typically when I'm traveling, I feel like I keep my eye makeup pretty simple just because we're always doing something or we're relaxing and I just don't want to take the time to do like a very intricate eyeshadow look. So this is perfect because it just has a few staple neutrals in it. The shimmers are great, the mattes are great, and I do still really enjoy this one. I don't think I mentioned a favorite liquid liner last year, but I did try a few really great pencil liners. So the LA Girl Shockwave metallic liners, still a favorite for sure. In fact, I also mentioned the Shockwave lip liners, and I love these so much. I feel like after trying these formulas, I really haven't purchased high-end lip liners or eyeliners. They're really smooth, very, very creamy. The eyeliners are so gorgeous if you want to add a pop of color to your waterline or your upper lash line, and they're just very, very easy to work with. I love these formulas so much, so definitely still favorites of mine. I also tried the Too Faced Killer Liners, and I really enjoy these. I feel like I hesitate to mention a high-end liner because, like I said, those are really great, and there are other drugstore liners I like. But if you're looking for a long-lasting matte liner to stay on your waterline, these are it. I love the light nude one on days where I'm doing more of like a natural makeup look because it will just open up my eyes. I have a couple of different shades, and I don't know if they make any with shimmer in them, but all of the ones that I have, I think are matte. So the LA Girl ones do have shimmer in them, and I do like a good shimmery eyeliner, but sometimes you just want like a true matte, and I feel like these are perfect for that reason. Okay, the last eye product that I'm going to share, is this the last product altogether? It is. So the last product that I'm going to talk about in today's video is the Essence Lash Princess Curl and Volume Mascara. I went through so many of these in 2022 and 2021. I can't remember exactly when this launched, but this is a brand new one. So I'm actually not going to open it fully yet because I'm not ready to use it. I have a few other open mascaras, but I love this. This one makes my lashes look so dramatic. It makes them look lifted and curled, and it adds a ton of volume. I will say there are a lot of mascaras I tried this year that I really love too. So I haven't been using this one as much, but if I had to name like my top 3 mascaras right now, this would be in there. What would the other 2 be? I mean, if I'm naming them right now, I would name this one, the Milani Highly Rated, and the Tower 28 one, because those are my top 3 favorites. So this is still a great option. So most of the products that I loved in 2021 are definitely still favorites in 2022. There are definitely some that are a little bit higher than others. I have replaced a few formulas with like other alternatives, but I wouldn't say that I dislike any of these products or disliked them enough to declutter them this year. I feel like they all still have a place in my collection, and a lot of them are just still like tried and true favorites that I enjoy using every single week. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll definitely be sharing my favorite products of 2022 very soon. There were so many great launches this year, so I can't wait to film that video. But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new one. Bye.